to the
dedicated to unmanned robotic crafts, and I'm going to invite the speakers of our panel, Mykola Vorobyov, the director of the Unmanned Crafts Program, Eduard Totsenko, the director of Infocom Limited, Alexander Stepura, the founder of Skytown Company, and Serhiy Daniluk, director for development Ukr-Spets System Ukraine. You are welcome. I guess we're ready to start. Please take your places. You will have a chance to continue your dispute later. Dear colleagues, you are welcome. Thank you. Of course, you will have a chance to continue, but I would like you to start our common dispute. Yesterday we had a good chance to work, and many of you have reported real good feedback, Actually, your feedback and your creativity was great. Our greatest advance was actually seeing each other and hearing each other and probably understanding. Of course, you are top experts here, but for me it was a small university course. I was learning from your words. I believe that today it's gonna be not less interesting, and we're going to start with unmanned robotic vehicles. Yesterday, during our dispute, probably you have paid attention that during each panel, during each dispute, we were mentioning robotics in these or that fields. And of course, the robotics, the unmanned vehicles that are multi-purpose tools today, they are not only aircrafts, they are land units, they are naval units. On one hand, these vehicles, well, they are a sort of mythos now, because everybody wants those vehicles to do miracles. Each of you has some experience. Probably we should discuss the nature of those vehicles. Probably we should discuss it more to understand why exactly they are and how they work. Probably we should discuss whether those vehicles are an autonomous panacea, or that is just an element of some system. And of course, we should discuss the pro and contras for development and manufacturing of new high-tech robotics in Ukraine. And I'm going to start with Mr. Mikola, because the Antonov Construction Bureau has developed a large unmanned vehicle. It has been discussed for many times, and it has been a pride for the developers. And then the government decides to buy the Turkish unmanned vehicles, those Bayraktars. Of course, the Bayraktars are good. However, but what has happened to Gorlitsa unmanned aircraft? What about our large unmanned planes? Were there any obstacles during the development? Or can we combine the Turkish crafts with our vehicles? And actually, what are we expecting those unmanned planes to do, please? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I am grateful to the organizers and to Oksana Syriid for an opportunity to express our opinion on behalf of Antonov State Development Bureau regarding the sphere of unmanned aircrafts in Ukraine. And I'm going to start with a history so that you could understand what's that field and how exactly it is functioning. The unmanned aircraft started their development at the beginning of the 60s, when the first recon unmanned crafts were developed in USSR and the USA. These were heavy aircrafts with a lot of drawbacks, but they were the beginning, the source of this branch Later, Israel has joined these two leader countries. Later, the European countries started developing their unmanned aircrafts. This was the start of unmanned aircraft vehicles industry. USA takes about 75% of developing. Israel is on the second place and Europe is on the third place. However, China is demonstrating dramatic development. It starts to challenge the leaders because it has many classes and many types of unmanned vehicles. Of course, China makes the replicas of well-known models. First, heavy unmanned crafts were developed. They were recon aircrafts. They were followed by small tactical aircrafts with a recon range 30 to 40 kilometers. And in the beginning of 90s, the tactical class vehicles with 120 kilometers were developed, with loading up to 50 kilos. This is tactical aircraft equipped with modern radio electronics, recon devices, optics, and as a result, at the 80s, they were followed by heavy unmanned aircrafts. You can read about them. These are Ripper, Predator, Global Hawk, here on TV. These crafts were developing dramatically. Their main purpose was recon. They were all designed for recon, and the equipment was also exclusively for recon operation and data transfer. However, during the Afghani war, the need for fighting unmanned craft was evident, so the first fighter unmanned vehicles appeared with high-precision weapons, missiles, or guided bombs were the new developed. So they now have the classes of unmanned crafts, the NATO classification. First, microcraft, then minicraft, weight below 150 kilos. We have such crafts. The story will follow. Second class as weight of craft up to 600 kilograms with an altitude up to 6,000 meters. Bayraktar is a good example of them. These crafts are also being developed at Antonov's Bureau, third-class operative crafts. High altitude up to 12,000 meters and a long range, a long duration of flight up to 24 hours, and the class of strategic or strike crafts, high altitude over 15,000 meters and flight time over 36 hours. Global Hawk, Ripper MG9 are examples. These crafts are rather scarce. Their number is limited by the technical possibilities of the developer countries. So this is the system we're used to classify the unmanned crafts. What are the main objectives of unmanned aircrafts? First, the development of unmanned crafts has a tendency to lower weight and lower size of special equipment and higher memory for the electronic devices for carrying out the tactical purposes. The first electronic equipment, well, its weight was about 200 kilos. At present, the weight of electronic equipment has decreased tenfold. This enables us to increase the flight time and enable the tactical purposes in compliance with our present time. Modern crafts have to find the target by themselves, have to follow the target, determine the target type, lock the missiles and control the damage through optical electronics. Except for electronic recon devices are now equipped by electronic recon, like electronic radars that operate at any weather conditions, mist, day, night, snow, while the optical devices works as human eye. It works only under good conditions. For example, Bayraktar crafts have no electronic recon devices, only optical ones. The unmanned crafts now are being equipped with this regards the strategic crafts. Now they have very powerful recon devices, long-range recon, electronic recon, recon of large areas, naval recon. All that equipment has its special characteristics of weight and shape. The recent devices were focused on the I don't mean the small crafts, I mean heavy strategic and operative crafts. They were focused on better recon, but now it seems not enough. Now the world is developing the artificial intellect with automatic control systems for the craft itself and for the systems, enabling recon, communication and weaponry use. As for the artificial intellect, of course the USA and Israel are the leaders. However, all crafts now don't have the artificial intellect system yet. At the NATO level, they are just discussing the concept of artificial intellect because the specialists have different opinions. They don't have a common platform, a common ground to understand what the artificial intellect is. Of course, as soon as they find out what the artificial intellect is, we'll go to the next step. Artificial intellect is the future of aircrafts. What is the initial point for artificial intellect? That means that the land operator would not interfere into control of aircraft. For example, he takes a target to destroy something, and finally, at the end point, he takes a decision whether to carry that operation or not. For example, the initial coordinates are not corresponding with the real situation. For example, those coordinates fit to some civilian structure. So the device has to take the decision himself and stop carrying out its mission. The craft has to find the proper target by itself. This is what artificial intellect is. The unmanned craft has to take his decision by himself. But of course, those programs are made by humans, and those programs are controlled by humans. But such functions of artificial intellect should be applicable to unmanned aircrafts. And of course, such a craft has to be included into the control system of combat operation. It's a sort of subsystem in a network of command and control system. It's an element of a C4A system. It includes this vast system of combat field that is being operated from the one operative center controlling aircrafts, navy, missiles and everything. So one of the sub-elements is the unmanned aircraft. It provides a lot of data, transfers a lot of data to the ground where the data is being analyzed, transferred to headquarters, and the headquarters in its turn takes the final decision about the operation. And the combat field holds many types of units, starting from land units and up to aircraft units. So all the units receive the final decision. This is the future of warfare based on unmanned aircraft's use. And real good crafts are needed for this, with a great loading up to half-ton of equipment. So let us ask a question. Well, I'm just asking you that you have 2 minutes more. Okay, 2 minutes more. So what's the situation in Ukraine? Except for tactical class aircrafts, up to 50 kilos, we have nothing. Those devices were developed by initiative groups, by small private companies, and they have reached great success. Our colleague will report it. They have demonstrated outstanding results. However, here in Antonov's bureau, we have started developing the aircrafts with a loading weight 250 kilos. We got the models Gorlitsa 1 and Gorlitsa 2. Gorlitsa 2 weight is 300 kilos, with a loading weight up to 60 kilos. We also have a model with a weight of 6 tons. It's just on the paper, it's just a blueprint, but we are ready to implement it. And in February, we had a conference involving all representatives of aviation industry. Representatives of 19 facilities have arrived. They are developing the elements of unmanned crafts. Our innovation project for the operative unmanned aircraft with a long range and long time of flight. It should be equipped with Ukrainian engines, H450. The weight of the aircraft will be 4 tons. The load weight is 800 tons. This is our innovation project. We are going to suggest it to the Ministry of Defense and to any investor or customer that is ready to pay. This is our new innovation. We have the blueprints. As for the future, it all depends on the funds, because making a blueprint is cheap enough. And what about the Ministry of Defense? By now, we still have no contracts. Not only us have the contracts. The other companies that were reporting yesterday, the number of purchase, the number of procurements has decreased greatly this year. I feel that the Ministry of Defense mistrusts our scientists, mistrusts our